What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. We know the traditions. We can choose a starter that's either a grass type, fire type, or water type. With the rare exceptions of an electric or normal type, these are always the options that we have from which to choose. Some people might say we need all of the other types to be represented at some point, but here's the thing. For the foreseeable future, I don't think we'll depart from the standard setup. But that doesn't mean that they have to remain a single type. I'm not just focused on primary typings because we have received numerous starters over the years that have spread across a good portion of all of the elements. We can see that Meganium, Sceptile, Serperior, and Rillaboom all remained a pure grass type, which is fine. At the same time, we see Blastoise, Feraligatr, Samurott, and Inteleon stay pure water types as well. When we come to fire, we see that only Typhlosion and Cinderace endure to be a solo type at the end, which to me means that fire owes the other two a couple of generations of staying monotyped while they get to have a little more flair. But obviously there is so much more. The first Pokémon ever is dual-typed, with the Venusaur line being a poison type. We've never seen a starter with poison since then, but Venusaur has maintained a strong presence to this day. Gen 1 also gave us a flying type in Charizard, and this was seen again in Alola with the Rowlet line, the only other time that the base stage of a starter was dual-typed. However, the Owls didn't stay this way with Decidueye gaining the Ghost type, the first starter to do so, to great effect in my own opinion. But getting back on track, the first starter to branch out since Kanto was the Blaziken line with the fighting type. This spilled over to Infernape, and then Emboar, and also Chestnut. Well, at least we got one different one in there. Hoenn also brought Swampert with the formidable ground type, which was also gifted to Torterra in the next generation. And Sinnoh, of course, also gave us my favorite Pokemon, with one of the best typings in the game, simply by adding the Steel type to its predictable water. We then see the unique aspect of Psychic with Delphox in the Kalos region, and this same generation also gave us our first Dark-type starter with Greninja, which we saw again with Incineroar. And of course, our final starter type to appear thus far was Fairy with Primarina in the Alola region. Now, there can be an argument for whether or not these Pokemon are in fact good representations of these additional types, but the fact is that they are starters of those types, which leaves us to only have starters without the types of Electric and Normal, as far as the standard starters go, as well as Ice, Bug, Rock, and Dragon. Whoa, hold up, I can hear you now. There are at least 2 starter Megas that have the Dragon types? Yeah, okay, but let me ask you this. Can you Mega Evolve your starter in the current Pokemon games? No? Well, then I guess we don't have Dragon-type starters, do we? So I thought it would be interesting to come up with ideas about how these types could be implemented into a typical starter triangle at some point. Let's start with Normal. As we said, Eevee is an official starter, but you don't even get to choose it. So how can we fold Normal into a regular trio? Well, first of all, no Pokemon has ever gained the Normal type upon evolution. Which does make sense. I mean, how can something become more plain? So we'll have to give it Normal right from the beginning. But which type should we tack it onto? I'm thinking Grass might be best, and for this combination, I'm leaning towards a wolf of some type. It could start out as a friendly little pup, and then evolve into an intimidating forest Fenris. We could probably have a ghost-type gym or something early on to make it worth picking. And simple things like crunch coverage and maybe the grass pelt hidden ability could help to make an ordinary type an advantage, at least in its home region. Next, there's the electric type, and for this one, I think it would be best to be paired with water. The inspiration from this Pokemon, I think, could come from an eel-type creature. I say type creature because it seems like all the water starters are required to be mobile on land, which does make sense for gameplay, but it means that purely aquatic life forms are not on the table without modifications. So, if these fish had some sea lion flippers or something at least, I think it could be a nice change of pace from the norm. It's a great type combo that we have seen before, but not enough. So letting us use one probably as early as the middle evolution would be great for a starter to have. The bug type is another that would be pretty hard to sneak in down the line, so we'll probably have to start out with it in the base form too. Here, I am fairly confident in the idea of using the fire type with the idea of the bombardier beetle, this insect being famous for sparking out explosions as a defense mechanism. I'm thinking they could actually learn Spark as a coverage move, and maybe like an ability to negate stealth rocks would be good, but I think the sheer firepower of this bug alone could surprise many. Every time we've seen this combination so far has worked out, so I have no doubt that a starter would be just as good, if not better. Now, since we've established that there are no dragon-type starters, I think it might be best paired with Gras. I know that Dragon resists literally all of the starting types, but at least combined with Gras, it still has 6 other weaknesses to exploit. As for the design, some kind of dinosaur would probably be best. I'm thinking one of the old standards, like a Stegosaurus, could be good. Having the plates be made out of leaves or even wood could put both types on full display. Maybe even a Dimetrodon to gain Dragon as a middle stage, but I do think giving it a lot of defense would help bulk up the Grass type so that people would actually want this full-time Dragon starter. So I think that this could be a great and maybe even unexpected way to usher in the one-time strongest type to a partner that you can pick right from the start. Ice, I think, would predictably be best paired with water. Not that it couldn't be with fire or grass, but those seem more like they would be one-offs or something for later in the decks. I thought that it might be neat to get that dolphin Pokemon like everybody's clamoring for. That might be difficult for traveling on land, but it's not like it would be the first Pokemon to magically float in the air. We can work that out somehow, but I'm thinking that it could end up as a narwhal. Having a giant ice horn would certainly make a statement about what type this creature is, while also providing access to a bunch of great horn moves for coverage. A good hidden ability could ensure that these icy mammals are standouts in whichever region they might appear. Water and ice may be a combination that we've seen since Gen 1, but it is a reliable one. And besides, ice is usually always locked away until near the end of the game, so being able to pick a starter that could utilize it at least in the mid-game, if not from the very beginning, would be worth the choice alone. And finally, we have Rock. And not to peel back the curtain too much, but in my own Pokemon region that I would make, my Fire-type starter would be part Rock, bringing the types together with the origins of a powerful ox. This does indeed adhere to the Chinese zodiac theory, but is also a strong base to show off its rocky horns, and snorting fire out of its nostrils as it stomps in rage. This combination might have 2 quad weaknesses that would be difficult at times, sure, but maybe a steam engine hidden ability or some other way to mitigate the crushing blows might be in order. But even if not, you could still be assured that this ox would have a supremely high physical attack to hit as hard as possible before its inevitable takedown. It probably wouldn't be my first pick depending on the other options, but I wouldn't be mad at it either, even if the rock type didn't show up until the final stage. But those are just some of my ideas as to how we might integrate the few remaining types into the current starter trio setup. Honestly, it's only a matter of time for all of these anyway. Well, except for maybe normal. But these are far from the only ways that it could happen, so be sure to describe the best ways you think they could finally give us these types as starters down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!